And it is time for the hot topic of the hour. President Trump says he's considering what he calls a massive attack on Iran, telling Axios it would be bigger than ever before. The president further discussing the Iran conflict yesterday at EPA headquarters. Watch this.
We're doing very well against the Islamic Republic of Iran. We're doing extremely well. They would like to do something, but I say they're not ready yet. They need more of the same. They're not ready yet. They got some evil intentions. When they start blowing away communities one by one, we cannot let them ever even think about having a nuclear weapon, and that's exactly what's happening. They'll never have a nuclear weapon.
The United States completing its 13th straight round of strikes against Iran overnight. President Trump writing on Truth Social, quote, "All damages done to ships, cargo, or anything related thereto will be paid for by Iranian money that the United States has in its possession and controls." The president says no final decision has been made, but the possibility of a larger U.S. military response is keeping investors on edge. Now, let's take a look at oil once again, because we're pulling back right now after hitting that $100 mark, in particular on Brent. We're at 97.28 on Brent. WTI crude oil right there, 89.22. Now, there were, of course, fears that any escalation could disrupt supplies through the Strait of Hormuz, which has had some ships going through, Dan, but obviously the traffic through the strait has been severely impacted since February. And we also saw, the market really had a rough day yesterday, in particular because of what the president said, that he was going to go all in and get Iran and get them hard.
Yeah, I don't think, Cheryl, that we're going to be seeing oil coming down. I think that we're going to have more geopolitical disruptions. Unfortunately, the Iranians are not going to cooperate. So the president has a real challenge. And anytime we have energy prices going up, everyone feels it. It's a worldwide tax.
Yeah, Todd Pyro is with me as well this morning, Todd. And, overall, let's talk about strategy here from the White House, because, look, the markets, again, we had mortgage rates have jumped. The 10-year jumped. We saw, huge losses for the NASDAQ. That's an AI story. We'll get into that later. But all of this is because of the concern that this is going to be a much broader and longer conflict. More military assets going into not just the fact that there's reports that the U.S. military is having a hard time controlling the strait right now, but also that you now got the Houthis involved, and they're now coming in and trying to block traffic as well.
Yeah, and the number one thing that comes out of war is uncertainty, and markets don't like uncertainty. That's literally the fundamental maxim of Wall Street. And so for a president like Donald Trump, who often touts the stock market, touts how everybody's 401ks are doing, especially going into a midterm season where he obviously wants Republicans to maintain both the House and the Senate, that's going to be a tough sell. And so I think, again, I hate going over my skis on military strategy, but it would seem to me that a combination of the military, financial, blitz, for lack of a better word, needs to happen, and it needs to happen soon. They're not negotiating. Okay, the Iranians don't want to negotiate. They want the destruction of America. I understand there's some thought process out there that the people that are in charge now just want to survive and make it to a different country without being arrested or without being executed. I think it goes beyond that. Fundamentally, the Iranians for 47 years have wanted death to America. I don't think we resolve that diplomatically. I do think we need to go after them hardcore, militarily and economically, and let the people in Iran rise up. Whether we actually go in there with CIA operatives to foment the insurgency, I don't know. It has to happen, because that's, I think, the only real way that the Republicans maintain control.
Right, and certainly with energy costs going up, oil, diesel, jet fuel, etc., that domestic story is so crucial, Todd. You mentioned the midterms. That is very important. Iran's missile accuracy is raising new concerns and worries inside the Pentagon. Officials are investigating whether or not Russia or China may be helping Tehran better target American troops and sensitive intelligence sites. Now, President Trump rejecting claims that Iran's capabilities are better today than they were 4 months ago. Watch.
They have no military. They have no navy. They had 159 ships. Everyone's at the bottom of the sea. They had 212 airplanes. Everyone is gone. They have no radar. They have no anti-aircraft. They have no nothing other than they're mean and they're smart and they still have some capability. But 4 months ago, trust me, they were much, much stronger.
And all this follows a series of Iranian missile strikes on U.S. military facilities in the region, including a deadly attack on a base in Jordan where 3 American service members were killed. You know, Todd, when you see the dignified transfer at Dover and you look at the human cost of this, that is what the American public is watching. It's been a difficult week, let's be clear, for the administration.
Yeah, and this isn't a time in our society where there's, how can I put this delicately, an acceptance for truth deaths. I think back in the day, you know, war was so much more prolific that people died and there was a little bit more of an acceptance. Here, you have an American people that if one service member dies, the reaction is, you know, goes completely anti-war. And obviously we, you know, hate death. We hate any time that something bad happens to one of our brave servicemen or women. But there was definitely a more of an appetite for it back in the day. Now, not so much. And the White House does have to contend with that.
Yeah. And again, appetite for higher energy costs is not there as well. The American family suffering. We're going to talk about affordability and markets. So a lot to go through this morning, guys. We are just getting started.